And my name's Kevin Walsh. This is I'm at the Motion Picture Institute. I'm the Marketing Enrollment Director here. And we are in our 5th session for the DAFT 6th Media Student Symposium, which is pretty cool. And this is the first time, though, that we are virtual. Usually there are about 160 to 180 of you students right next door on the stage at MPI. And Scott Norman is our guest, and he has been a presenter before for the students, doing an awesome session on directing actors. And today was going to be 4 straight sessions on the set before the COVID regulations were extended a bit, where we were going to be walking everybody through a scene. And all the 4 speakers, Jeremy was going to be doing lighting, Rick was going to do sound, Tara was going to do first AD, and then Scott was going to talk about how to direct actors. So we're kind of morphing things a little bit, and we are going to shift over to any of your questions about actors. And we've got some questions that you guys feel free, if you're just joining us, feel free to type your questions in the chat. If you would like to ask your questions in person on Zoom, that'd be great. And just put a note in there. Otherwise, I can read it for you. And also, if you could put your school district or the city you live in after your name, when you go to change your name in Zoom, that would be great. So we know where you're coming from. Okay. So Scott, if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you to do your, Scott also, by the way, is our awesome host for all of the MPI open houses. And he's going to be here tomorrow between 11 and 1 for our open house. So if you have a question, if you want to see him in action, coaching actors, tomorrow would be a good time for that. So anyway, thanks for joining us again, Scott. And as usual, thank you for your flexibility as I keep throwing curveballs at you over the last year and a half that we've been working together. So
we've all been thrown a huge curveball with the pandemic. So
yeah, COVID ball. Yeah.
I guess I should start.
Yourself. How'd you get started? Where are you from? And
Sure. All right. I'll give you the synopsis. Oh, I love that Sophia's cat just typed in a question into the chat. I had to make a point of that. So my name is Scott Norman.
A lot of 666s. I don't know.
Really? I don't know if it's an omen or what.
Yeah.
Get that cat check, take it to church. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm originally from New York City. I don't know if it might come out in my accent very clearly. I've been in Michigan about 15 years now. If I get angry, it'll be pretty clear I'm from New York. I started learning to act at various workshops in Manhattan before moving out here, looking to extend my work. And it was probably the best move I ever made because there was not a lot of competition, although there was a lot of work for actors to do here in Michigan. So I've been working professionally almost as long as I've been here. And I've been fortunate enough to work on some of the Hollywood projects that have come through on TV, and also to work at Motion Picture Institute as one of the acting instructors. I'm also a graduate of the program, and I highly recommend it. Directing, acting, it's actually a good understanding of acting is really helpful when it comes to directing actors. Understanding their process, what they go through, can actually help to simplify the process of directing. I think a lot of directors, especially beginning directors, kind of overdo it in giving directions to actors. It can be because this project as a director is your baby. You have all these ideas of how it should go. You really have an in-depth understanding of the characters and what you want from them, and you tend to give almost too much information when it comes to directing actors. When what we want from the actor is a realistic performance. We don't want them to pretend. We want them to sort of live their life on screen as we film it. And getting that kind of performance from an actor requires a different mindset on their end. You don't want them to actually fake things. You want to help create an experience that the actor can live through, that will come across as the character's experience. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but it's a change in perspective and approach to talking to actors. You're not trying to turn them into the character. You're trying to turn the character into the actor, allowing them to live through a particular scenario in a way that gives you a realistic, or not just realistic, but a real emotional response that you, the director, can capture on film or video or whatever your medium is. But that's just a quick summary of my approach. I usually have a lot of tips and pet peeves when it comes to acting. Maybe they'll come across in this presentation or in this Q&A. But maybe let's turn it over to you guys and we get your questions answered and see what.
Yeah, and we got some really good questions coming in already. Sam, did you want to ask your question?
Sure. Hi, Scott. I just wanted to ask you about, okay, let me set the scene for this question. Let's say you're shooting a scene and it's like you're on set shooting a scene and you want to give the actor some notes. Like, you know, you run a scene a few times before you get the version that the director wants, but is there a good way to give an actor notes without taking them out of the scene? I don't want to make them have to get back into the mindset of being this character. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think I understand. Yes. Yeah, you don't want them. You want them to stay. If it's like if it's a sad scene, you want to keep them in that sort of sad state, or if they're angry. I think the main thing is to make it about the actor. If you can remove your concept of the character out of your head for a minute and deal with this actor as a person, you'll get better results. And it kind of starts, to back up a little bit, before you start filming, that you create a rapport with this actor and an understanding that you are going to be talking on an intimate level with them. You need to develop that before you get to the set, and this is part of the director's preparation. You shouldn't be on the set winging your relationship with the actor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I think as long as you approach him as let's say the character requires some sadness, you want to talk with the actor as if they're sad, and you want to sort of address those emotions or address what they're going through and what they're thinking about, and maybe try to enhance the experience. Maybe you could give me an example and I can give you a more specific response.
Okay. In this film that I have to make for my school, it's about people overcoming a real big demon with it's like, you know how childhood trauma has a way of sticking and making adults a certain way?
Yes.
It's about someone being so traumatized that they kind of push it to the back of them, and then they need to be able to accept it. And I wanted to show someone like an actor, I wanted them to be able to be very vulnerable in this scene, but if I need to give them a note, I didn't want them to freak out or kind of be like, oh, I can't get back in the mindset, we have to wait an hour. Yeah, I just want her to be able to be okay. Me give her a note on this in a polite way is what I'm trying to say.
I would say first, thank them and congratulate them, even maybe compliment their performance.
Okay.
So that they're in a state of comfort and confidence. And then from there, maybe ask questions rather than give direction. Ask questions that might get a response that you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
If they didn't give you, I don't know, maybe if they didn't give you the anger that you're looking for, you can ask, you know, what would you do, or what kind of thoughts do you have that would put you in this state, and ask them to explore that themselves. Actors in general will take direction, will go in the right direction more easily if they think it's their idea.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's really true.
If you say, I want you to go this way, and they already have in their mind that they're going this way, they're not going to get there very easily. Yeah. However, if you ask them, what would you do if you wanted to get over here? And they're like, well, if I want to get, I would do this. And now all of a sudden it's their idea on how to go in the direction you want them to go in.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Right. You're giving them some authority and ownership of the direction that you're taking them in.
Right. That's a really good answer
too, isn't it?
Yeah.
That helps you as a parent, as a spouse.
Yeah. Right.
I come up with a lot of good ideas that weren't my ideas. You know?
Exactly.
Well,
I'm
That
gonna,
answers the question.
yeah, kind of a follow-up question. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Zach Floyd, you can ask your question right now if you want, or I can ask it for you, whatever you feel comfortable.
I can ask it. I was just wondering, in your opinion, how much pull an actor has on how their character acts over what the script says? Because I know you usually try and cast actors who can really fit the character, but I know some actors really like to take the character into a different place. A lot of actors like Johnny Depp really like to really put their own personal spin on it. And I was just wondering how much pull they have over what the script wants their.
Mm. I would say, let's see how to put this really. The script, the film is ultimately the director's vision of how the script should be expressed on screen. It's hard to say. First, you got to understand that the script is one idea of the story. It describes how the story turns, and it really describes the emotional experience. How that's expressed on screen will differ depending on who's directing it. So the script doesn't really define what this film is gonna look like. That's the director's vision. Professional actors understand that they are beholden to the director's vision. This is why they get hired. Now, that in mind, however, the director may will want to collaborate with the actor on achieving that vision. Maybe their vision is a little foggy. They have a general idea, but they want the actor's contribution to fleshing that out. Or they hire actors who they know can deliver on their vision. It really depends on the director's process and how they want to achieve the ultimate vision. So I think actors do have a huge influence on how the character is portrayed, regardless of the director's vision, because the character becomes the actor. This is sort of an important understanding of the actor doesn't become the character becomes the actor. So you have to, when you're hiring process, you have to hire people who you will know are close to your vision for the character, or can deliver on your vision for the character. So this is kind of a general answer, a two-way answer. It depends on the director, how much collaboration the director wants to work on with the actor. But ultimately, it's a consensus that the director has to come to, and he has to hire accordingly. Do you have any, I hope that clarifies a little bit, but do you have any follow-up question on what I just said?
No, I think you really answered my question really well. So thank you for that.
Cool. All right, you're welcome.
Connor from Woodhaven, I don't know if that answered your question or if you wanted to elaborate a little bit, or I can.
No, it pretty much, the last two questions actually answered my question.
We're so thorough, Scott.
Sorry, do you have an additional question since you're up, since you got the attention?
Yeah, Connor's question was, how much influence does the director have over the actor's actions and acting? So, yeah, it is kind of funny because you see these long-term partnerships between directors and actors, like Scorsese with Robert De Niro, and it's a true partnership, I think, in the vision, right?
It is. It definitely is. It always is. But ultimately, since I'm talking to directors on this call, ultimately it's your decision as a director. The director has the vision, and the director is beholden to the producer. The producer trusts the director to give a vision and do that, and then the director has to entrust his vision with the actors and in the hands of the actors, and your hiring process has to keep your vision in mind. But again, professional actors or I should say trained actors, understand that their job is to deliver what the director wants. I think you'll find that the actors that insist on doing it their way don't work for very long. They might have a couple of jobs because they're really cool to look at, but ultimately directors won't hire them. The actors' customer, I don't know if I have any actors on this, but this is a business model idea. The actor's customer is not the audience. The audience doesn't pay the actor. The audience pays the producer. And so the actor's customer is actually the directors and the producers, and they're the ones that have to be appeased. Some actors will have more control if they have a large following, because what the actors are being paid for is the attention of their followers. If you have millions of people who love you, and I as a producer want to get money from those millions of people, I'll give you a little bit more money for access to those people. But if you have like just your family is following you, you're not going to get a lot of money from me to put you in my film, because I'm only going to get your family to come to the theater, and that's not worth, $20, $50 or whatever. A little extra there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Douglas from Simsbury Schools. Did you want to ask your question about middle school students?
Oh, sure. Hi, Scott. Yes, I'm actually a teacher, and I'm starting a new club at our school because we just got a $22 million renovation for a brand new auditorium. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. We got a big screen, and we're ready to go. But here's the thing. I'm starting from ground zero. I got some grants to get some equipment, and I got a bunch of kids interested, but wondering if you have any suggestions on how to grassroots it in terms of equipment, and the whole 9 yards to make a student film each year for the faculty.
Wow, equipment, I'm probably not the person to talk to. I'm just looking over your question here, because you also talk about acting. I think if you really want to engage the students, the equipment is probably not your main concern. You want to get like a DLR camera, you want to get lighting, and I think you can keep the equipment as basic as possible, because what's important for the students' experience as actors is going to be getting them in the moment, and getting them to interact with each other in a trusting and vulnerable way that allows them to be comfortable and give really engaging and realistic performances. Not sure the best way to sort of grassroots that, except to look up, I think, what books would be good.
I know they had Uta Hagen's book, but that's like a little bit higher level, probably for middle school kids. I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, I think if you looked online for acting exercises, and looked at things that would get kids improvising with some of these basic skills, such as what would they be, like understanding the difference between instinct and intellect, where the difference between like planning out your performance and then reacting in the moment to the situation. That's an important understanding to get a realistic performance. Understanding improvisational skills, or there's some fun improv games to get kids just acting on their feet instead of acting in their heads.
Yes.
You could probably find some great exercise online. I would probably start, if there's any book, I would get a book on, and I don't know the name of one specifically, but a book that about acting exercises that you can just get people doing and then start capturing them on film. And then from there, you as the leader of the group might look at some directing, not directing books necessarily, but tips on directing actors in a scene. And how to set up the camera to film a scene. Actually, one really basic book. Oh, I'm trying to think of the title of the book now. What's this guy's name? The book is called From Real to, I think it's called From Real to Screen. And he's a director, he's a producer director who just talks about the most basic way to film, to make a movie. And get it accomplished without worrying about too much about the equipment and the final about equipment and money. Talks about the importance of how to set up a scene. You want to get this angle, that angle, a grain angle, and then edit together to make a film. So I would just say look at the very basics of filming a scene. 2 angles and on a wide view shot. And get the kids just starting to act out various exercises. That was the first bit. But if you want to holler at me later, I got to put my email address. My email address is on the website, but maybe Kevin can get it to you, and I can direct you a little bit more specifically towards books and exercises that would help.
Oh, that would be great, Scott. And just one last question I have is there any how do I put this, like a website that is like reliable, it's been checked, and it's something that the kids could be a part of, that we can show clips of movies to learn a little bit about acting, to learn a little bit about angles, to learn a little bit about how the lighting, and they're just like put together. Like, I don't know if you have come across anything.
Actually,
Yeah.
Doug, if you want to, DAFT's got a pretty good resource, and if you want to, I could put you in touch with some of our other teachers that would probably be a real, truckload of information for you on that topic, if that's okay.
That's absolutely okay. I'd greatly appreciate that.
Sure, yeah, no problem. I'm just going to put, and this, everybody's welcome to use this email address, but I'm putting my email in the address. So Doug, if you want to follow up with that question, that'd be great. But also kind of dealing with your question, I'm really interested hearing from all the students and teachers that are on the call right now, kind of related to Doug's question, is what's going on in your schools between the drama program and the video program. A lot of times there's a real nice hybrid, and other times they're in little silos. So do any of you students out there who have done production or worked with actors, what would you recommend for Doug, who's got this nice big auditorium coming and he wants to start a film club and an acting club for students? Do any of you students or teachers have recommendations for them? They always tell you in education school to allow wait time.
Oh, allow people to think or to type their answers out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And you guys can speak up if you like, but that's something you can address as we move through this. We, got a few more minutes. Scott, I think they'd be, the war stories are always popular, and you've acted in some films here in town, or, you've done acting. Do you got anything that you'll always remember as an actor on a film set that is like something that you wish you wouldn't have done, or something you're really proud of, or anything in between?
Which I wouldn't have done or proud of. I mean, I think I was a little embarrassed shooting the scene for Detroit 187, which was on AMC for a season. I had my scene, the scene all memorized. I had practiced it back and forth with the main actor in the whose scene it really was, and got into place, called action, and I walked up to the actor to say my line, and I just drew a blank, and I looked at the director and I said, "Can we go back to one?" Which is something that the director should have said. Back to one. What I should have asked was, "Can we do this again? Can we start over?" But I called out, probably because of my education at MPI. I don't know. I called out a direction, and he kind of looked at me like,
Not your
do you
department.
remember the line now? It's like, yeah, we can do it again. Sorry. We just backed it up and started over, and we pretty much finished it one take and did a couple of extra takes.
What does that mean, back to one?
Back to one means everybody started their positions, their first position with the number one, before the actor, before the director shouts action.
Cool.
So cameras have to go back. All the actors, everybody who has motion during the filming of the scene has a starting position and ending position, and the starting position is one.
So Scott's actually, when he's instructing here at MPI, one of the things he does is work with the students directing their own films. They're acting programs, thesis films. And so you're on set kind of as a coach or support for the directors that are MPI grads working with MPI students, right?
Yeah.
So what do you see when you're watching young directors or new directors? Is there any, I know you mentioned try not to give them too much and let them explore the characters, anything like that. Is there any other tips you've got for our students when they're directing actors?
Yeah, sure. I think I mentioned at the beginning that I have some pet peeves for directions, and one of the worst directions I ever got from a director was, he asked me, he says, "Did you ever see 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt?" I said, "Yeah, I've seen it. Remember how Brad Pitt's character was?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Do that." Do that? I mean, I'm not Brad Pitt and I'm not in that movie. I don't really know exactly what you're talking about. But I think directing, a lot of directors make the mistake of referring to other other performances, which is not a bad thing for research. But when you're on a set giving directions, you don't want to tell someone to be like somebody else, because inherently that demands a fake performance. You're not asking them to be real in the moment. You're asking them to be somebody else, somewhere else, and you're going to get a non-realistic performance out of the person.
It's like saying, hey, can you say that, but in French?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, okay. Which might be okay if you knew French fluently, because that might put the actor in the moment. But,
I suppose so.
Yeah, but what else? Oh, it looks like there's a question popped up there. I'd like to give other people a chance.
Yeah, no, Brickell, Romeo said our theater company was going to perform on stage, but we're having to do it kind of piecemeal all over town, recording it, and she's got to edit it and create it as a show or movie for others to view. And she's accepting donations. So Brickell, if you want to type in your website or something, so if people want to donate to your cause, you're in a sympathetic audience here with the arts. Brickell, you want to talk about your experience so far in directing actors with Scott?
Yeah, sure. So as I said before, we are unable to do it on stage. And so last year we have this like different roles in our theater company, and I was chosen as the assistant director. I'm a sophomore at Romeo High School, and I have volunteered to record and the audio and decide to edit it and put it together. And when it airs, it's going to be a link, and during the show, as people are watching it, they're welcome to accept and donate to our cause, for our video.
Yeah, you see that right now quite often with Broadway performances, because Broadway's shut down and the acting community is doing things, and at the end of it, streaming on YouTube or whatever, they'll say, make a donation to Broadway Cares or things like that. So the community has really been hit hard by COVID, obviously. Scott, can you talk about what some of your friends are doing are they taking classes online? Are they finding gigs?
It's actually, people have been struggling, but there are gigs in film. People are beginning to work again. One of my former students just recently posted on Facebook that he's going to be in a movie over in Chicago, and I'm excited about that for him. But the important thing is to keep doing your thing. You have to keep practicing, stay sharp. You have to let people know that you're available. Do free work. My friends who are in the theater are, just like you said, they're performing in streaming productions that the theaters are doing, and the theaters recently got permission to do that from the competing unions, the screen union, the stage union. They finally found a way to do that without breaking any union rules. But to jump on something from our last guest, talking about getting work and being consistent, it's important to work regardless of whether you're getting paid. Work begets work. And the more you're working, the more people will see you're working, the more people want to work with you, or they want to, or they see that you have a strong enough ethic that you're someone they want to bring on board. So even if you're just producing something yourself, performance online, performance with a couple of friends, you're just filming something. The important thing is to keep your mind in the game. Don't let it get mushy. Follow other people, see what other folks are doing. But right now people are just streaming and sort of holding their breath, waiting for things to come. But I don't say, don't hold your breath, keep breathing. Keep breathing, keep working, keep doing something. This is all going to open up again. The question is, are you going to be ready when the opportunities become available again?
All right. Well, thanks, Scott. We are at the end of this shift. Really want to thank you. I'll see you live here at MPI tomorrow for our open house.
Yes, indeed.
And,
all right. Thank you all for the time. This was too short. Please pass out my email to anybody if they want to reach me, my MPI mail.
Yeah, sure thing. Everybody, we will be listing all the instructors who are sharing today. We will be sure to post the email so you guys can reach out again. Okay, getting some thank yous in there. Thank you for the thank you.
Welcome. Thanks. This is too short, man. Shoot.